Good morning. Reverend Joe's on a well-deserved vacation. And so today we're going to be speaking about 6 enemies, or what I learned on my vacation. So I wanted to share with you, because it was such a wonderful experience. I really, since my Bali vacation, I feel like my heart has just been cracked open and have just gone to a deeper level. And I want to share some of my experience with you. We had been traveling for, I don't know, maybe we had been there 4 or 5 days, but this day was my transformational day. This was my aha day. This was my cracked open day. This was the priest at our temple that we had, very young priest, and it was a beautiful temple. They had sacred water there. We got our holy water there. And every time we would go to a temple, we had one of our spiritual guides. His name was Today. He would go to the temple ahead of our group, and he would line up the priest that would take us through the ceremony, and he would set up these little baskets of flowers every day, which were our offerings, and we would each have one in front of us for the ceremony, and that's one of the offering baskets. And this was, anyway, so we were up there, and Today, when we had been there, Today had asked me if I wanted to ride on the motorcycle with him at the temple, and I go, I don't know, because it was pretty chaotic. They were like kind of a little bit bigger than a Vespa, but not like a Harley. And they were everywhere. In Ubud especially, there were thousands. You know, here we have a few motorcycles and a lot of cars. There they have a lot of motorcycles and a few cars. So I said, well, I don't know. And he said, well, let's come back from the temple because it's not that bad. There's not that much traffic. So at the temple, we came back, and this was one of the views. We had lunch that day overlooking a rice field, and it was just beautiful. And driving in the back roads there from the temple, it felt so good. And I thought, if my sons could see me now, they would never believe this. I had no helmet. And I've always said, I don't want you having a motorcycle. They're dangerous. Because as a court reporter, I take a lot of depositions where people are badly hurt on motorcycles. Because here in our country, we don't see motorcycles when we're driving. We're looking for cars. We don't look for motorcycles. So, in fact, some of the people on the bus were going, Reverend Laura, are you sure you want to do this? And I said, yeah. And I felt very safe. And so after the restaurant, he said, well, let's go. Do you want to go into the city? And I said, okay, I trust you, and I trust Spirit. And it's very hectic. There's a lot of traffic, and we're in and out of the traffic. And this is where he said a very profound thing happened. So we're driving, and we get into the city. We're only a couple miles from the hotel, but now traffic is kind of crazy. And they have like a bike lane. And we're in the bike lane, and we're tootling along, and there's a lot of traffic. And then all of a sudden, there's a motorcycle parked right across the bike lane. And I'm leaning over, and I'm going, Today. I go, is that legal? And he goes, what? And I said, the motorcycle on the road. He goes, oh, yeah, it's okay. And I said, really? Because I said, in my country, I said, that thing, the least it would have a ticket, or it'd be towed away, or somebody would have pulled it off of the road by now and put it on the side. And I said, and now we have to kind of maneuver and go out of the bike lane and get in traffic. And I said to him, Today, doesn't that make you angry? And he said, anger? Angry? He said, my dear, anger is a delusion. Ew. And I said, wow, and that's how they live. Everything is in proper flow. So that kind of piqued my curiosity after that. I wanted to learn more about what their belief system was. So later that afternoon, I said, tell me, do you want to be a priest in the temple? Because he would go to the temple and he would prepare it, and he would assist the priest with the blessing and so forth. And he said, oh, I thought about it. I think I would really like to be one eventually. And I said, well, how do you become a priest? And he said, well, you study very hard for a year. He said, or you're chosen by God. And I said, well, what does that mean? And he said, well, in my belief, he said, I believe that we have that God is all there is. And he said, and then comes man. And he said, man, because they are right below God, because they have the ability to reason, to talk and to think. And so he said, so it's very important that they use their minds. And he said, and they must eliminate the 6 enemies, which are lust, greed, anger, madness, envy. He couldn't think of the 6th one. I had to look it up, and it's illusion. So I had to give a talk when I was in Bali, and so I came up with the word righteousness, because I felt that sometimes we are righteous about the way we believe and the way we treat people. And so these were the things, and if we look at that, these are enemies of our mind. These are things that we need to work on too in our country. But in our teaching, we don't focus on the 6 enemies. That's not what we really focus on. But what we do focus on is that we need to be conscious of our BS. Right? And our BS equals belief system. And a belief system is just a thought you keep thinking. A thought you keep thinking. And I thought, boy, what happens is when we get into certain situations, we know what our belief system is by the way we react. And unfortunately, these are sold out. But when I was one of Carol Davis, who's studying to be a minister, she told me about this book, and I got it. It's called Spirit with a Smile, The World According to Bob. We're going to order some more of these. I want to do a work study on this. And Bob stands for being of bliss, which is what God is. And he talks about our belief systems. And he said that, we can have good or positive belief systems or negative belief systems. And so it's good to look at what belief system that you might have. If you have some negative belief systems, might be that life is difficult, and so you struggle all the time. If you find yourself saying that, or I'm sure none of us have this thinking anymore that poverty is a virtue. I want to know that everybody in this center has gotten over that. But if you do have that, you might look at life or creating abundance as a struggle. And you may not think you have that conscious, but if you are constantly feeling like you are struggling, that might be a belief system. There's not enough. You keep looking for more. You keep looking for more to fill you up instead of being filled up where you are. Or the one, I'll never love again. You know, if you feel that way, if you feel like all the good people are taken, then you'll never see anybody good. In fact, it was funny when we were over there. I was teasing my guide because I fell in love with him, but he's like a third son. And I said, today I remember hearing one day on Oprah that everybody in the world has 200,000 soulmates, people that they could really connect with on a deep level. And I said, do you know Oprah? He goes, oh, yes, I love Oprah. And I said, yes. And I said, and I remember hearing that on her show and thinking, yes, well, my 200,000 are all in China. And I said, and who knew they were in Indonesia? So but it's just about the way we change our belief systems. If we change them to things like life is easy, things come to me easily and effortlessly, that will be our experience. And then it's okay to be rich. Then we have life is abundant. These are good belief systems that we really want to embrace and really think about. But what happens is that we get stuck. Sometimes we do get stuck. And in those belief systems, sometimes to overcome the belief systems, we say, well, we'll do affirmations. And affirmations, I firmly believe in affirmations, but I want you to realize that if you say an affirmation for 5 minutes during the day, but you're still doing your stinking thinking for 24 hours and 55 minutes, you need to switch that. You need to really focus on the good things. You need to focus your belief system, focus your consciousness in a different direction than that. Oh, let me go back. I didn't read that other one. William, how do I get back? Oh, there it is. Okay, this is from Joel Goldsmith. I love Joel Goldsmith. If you want anything unclear so that you recognize that it's all God, read anything by Joel Goldsmith. And he says that the development of spiritual consciousness begins with our first realization that we are beholding, that what we are beholding through the senses of sight, hearing, taste, and smell is not the reality of things. We get caught up in the illusion, and then we become delusional. We buy into what we think we're seeing, what we think we are experiencing, and it's not true. It's not true. And Joel Goldsmith is probably the clearest person I know on that. And he says that the world is fighting a power of evil, but we have discovered there is no such power. We have learned there is no reality to disease or sin. They exist only as unrealities accepted as realities, illusion accepted as condition, the misinterpretation of what actually is. And, you know, in every situation that we experience, if we really get that it is our consciousness that's coming through, whether it's good or we're interpreting it as good or bad, it is our consciousness. It is a mirror for us to look at. When I did my talk, did the slides, the verdict hadn't come out about the Trayvon Martin, thank you, Martin, and the George Zimmerman verdict. And there's just a lot of energy around that. And not that that wasn't a tragic thing, but there were two victims in that situation. And we need to look at that. We need to look at that. Hasn't our fear made us attack people at times with maybe our words? Maybe we haven't actually killed somebody, but we have attacked them from our belief system, from our fears. Or have we not ever been attacked? Have we ever not been killed by people's words, their sharp comments to us? So everything, you know, we weren't there in that situation, but that's a mirror for us. That's a mirror for us as humanity, as a nation, to look at what is mine to heal. What is mine to heal? I love what Dale talked about, the shift, because shift happens. Shift happens. And, and shift happened for me in Bali. I had a huge shift. It really it cracked my heart open. And just like Dale said, though, we don't have to go to Bali for that to happen. We can have that shift. We can have that awareness. We can have that, our hearts cracking open if we're just willing and open to have that shift happen. And when we really can go to that awareness that it really is all God, that everything that's going on out here has nothing to do about that person, that situation. It's about me. That it's really about me. And that each one of us is here. We are these divine beings. We are, in one of the books, I don't know which book I read, it might have been Joel Goldsmith, he talks about about Niagara Falls, and he talks about, we look at the magnificence of the falls coming out, and then what we forget is that Lake Erie is behind it, pushing it, and that is the point where it comes out. Well, each one of us is the point where divinity is showing up. And when we get our limiting beliefs about who we are, what people are, we get our righteousness out of the way and just see people for the perfection that they are. And when that comes up, that's a call for us for healing. That's a call for us to go within. What is the theme? Is that a constant theme in my life? It's something that we need to look at. It's something we need to own, not put it on the outside, not put it on a person or situation, but what is mine to heal. Reverend Joe and I were just this last week at an ongoing education ministers conference. Wow, both of us crying all week. I'm telling you, we were just cracked open huge. And you know what? I want to thank you because because of what you give here, we're able to go and be spiritually fed like that in a deeper level that we get to bring back to you. And we have some great ideas. And one of the things that I really want to do this year, may not do practitioner class, but if you're interested, talk to me. There's a class that I want to do. I haven't even looked at it yet. But those who've already taken classes, but they just want to go deeper. They don't want to be a practitioner. They just want to go deeper with their spiritual practice, with their studies, with their spirituality and this teaching, and understand it and live it in a bigger way. Live it in a bigger way. And so, anyway, what I wanted to tell you is we were there, and here we're in just a room of like 30 people. They're all our peers. They're all ministers, and we're all there loving and supporting each other, because it is a different animal being a minister sometimes in the world. And it was a beautiful thing. And everybody here, we a lot of us didn't know each other, and we had to share rooms with strangers, and it was wonderful. Versus Bali, we had some issues in Bali with roommates. A lot of people didn't know each other, and there were some issues. And at one point, I turned to Reverend Joe and I said, "Oh God," I said, "how do we get world peace when we can't have roommate peace?" But we need to look at that. How are you showing up in your own homes, with your own family, with your people that you work with? We need to take responsibility for that. We need to take it. We can't put it on them. And when they're acting up, we need to just send them love. We need to know that there's something within them that is trying to heal, and something within us needs to be healed, or we wouldn't notice it. And imagine, I love this, imagination is the beginning of creation. So when you're in a situation, use your imagination. See it differently. See it differently and call it forth. When we were up in Seattle this week, we worked with Kathy Ann Lewis. And any of you who go to her church in Seattle, you're very blessed too. You have the best of both worlds. Probably don't have any snowbirds here right now, but she is so clear, and she's so clear about setting your intention. What is your intention? You know, we are those divine powers, and this divine intelligence that I call God, that book calls Bob, which is being of bliss. All that divine intelligence does is want to say yes. Want to say yes to you. So when you set your intention, what is it you want? You need to know. You need to make a demand on the universe and know that Spirit will take care of it. And go about your life in not in fear, but in that awareness that that is yours. Set your intention. My next intention that I'm setting, and what Kathy Ann talks about, is first think about it. Think about what it is you want. Then you need to talk about it. Talk about what it is you're going to experience. Write it down, and then know that it's coming. And so I'm putting mine out there. I'm going to Peru with her. I'm going to go to Peru with her. I want to go and have the experience of a shaman. So I'm putting my intention out there. That'll be my next big trip. But I want you to get in that and know that you are powerful. And not only when you set your intention and you use your imagination for something big that you want to experience, you have to have the emotion behind it. You have to have the passion behind it, because emotion is just energy in motion. Okay, so you get it started, because God is just that energy. And what happens is the more you focus on that which you want, it starts to get heavy. It gets heavy until it takes form. And there it is. So what I want for all of us at the center, I want us to go deeper with your spiritual practice, deeper with your awareness with that it's all God. One of the things I loved about Kathy Ann, sometimes there'd get some conversations going, and I would see her like looking up before she talked. And I know that she was connecting with Spirit. She was connecting with what she knew was the truth of the situation. I have a tend to just be, let it come out. Not so good sometimes. But she is always conscious of what she's thinking, what she's feeling. And what I love is that each one of us is that divinity. And each one of us has that responsibility of what we think or what we're focusing on. What is our spiritual truth? And what we know is it's all God, so it's all good. We need to look past the illusion of what's going on and know the truth that behind this, there's a nugget there for me to know. There's a nugget, there's an opportunity here for me to see the truth in this situation. And pretty soon, our belief systems start all going to those positive ones so that everything we experience is positive and joyful. And when those other things come up, they don't hook on us. They don't get hooked to us. We just see them and we bless them on their way. So what I want for all of us this week is go out, be that center of spiritual living that we are. It's not just the name of our center. It is who we are. We are each a center of spiritual living. And when we really live from that place, from that knowing, from that power that we truly, truly are, get rid of that little fear and stuff and go for what it is we want and know that the universe is there to support us, we will transform the world. We will transform our families. We'll transform where we work. It will all work perfectly. We just need to love each other. We need to love each other when we're not showing up so pretty and not so nice. We just need to send love to everyone. And most of all, we need to love ourselves. So end your lesson. Oh, wait. That's today. That was my spiritual guide. That was the one who cracked my heart open. That's the one who rode me around on the motorcycle with his sarong on. So anyway, now end your lesson. Namaste. Thank you so much. Thank you.